Adventures of a Nepali Frog by Kanak Dixit. Illustrations by Subhas Rai. Chapter 10. Checking out Machhapuchharay. Bhakta had not forgotten Phulmaya's instructions. Go to Gandrung if you want to see the tail of the fish on Machhapuchharay. The frog headed up the mild slope that led away from Lake Phewa, past wide open fields set off by the low rock walls that were so distinctive of Pokhara. Every so often he stopped to rest under the stately peepal trees that dotted the wide valley. He passed the main bazaar, built along a long and winding road, which the frog followed all the way to the end of the town. Continuing on, he passed many villages, and finally arrived at a place where a sign said Fedi. From here, the real trek began. Bhakta began to climb. At the top was Dhampus, a ridgetop settlement famous for its view of the Annapurna Himal range. As he gained height, Bhakta breathing became more labored and he hopped with less enthusiasm. His hind legs began to ache, he felt dizzy, and his outer skin began to dry up. "Hey! Slowpoke!" came a shout from behind. "Out of the way, unless you want to be trampled!" It was a perspiring porter, bent low with a basket full of heavy baggage. "Please help me up this climb, sir," beseeched Bhakta, remembering the comfort of riding Jagat Bahadur's basket back in Asan Bazar. All porters have a kindly disposition, and this one on the Dhampus climb was no exception. "All right, here," said the porter, picking up the frog with 2 fingers and placing him on top of his doko. The frog caught his breath and began to regain his composure. Before long, he was enjoying himself, especially when a passing cloud decided to release a cool shower on them. A little later, the wind came up the valley to rustle the leaves of the massive peepals on the slope. This was rather good. "Trekking is fun, when you don't have to walk, huh?" said the porter between deep intakes of breath. It took quite an effort for him to climb with a load that weighed more than 50 kilograms. The porter's name was Hira Bahadur, and he was lugging the baggage of trekking tourists who were headed for Gandrung. "Oh, goody! Then can I go with you all the way?" "Sure, no problem. You do not add that much weight, Bhakte." Like Phulmaya, Hira Bahadur too was quite knowledgeable about the country's geography. As he drank sparkling cold water from a stone spout on the side of the trail, he nodded when the frog asked him about the fish-tailed mountain. "Yes, you can see the tail. You can see it change shape as you walk from Dhampus towards Gandrung. I'll point it out." As they came up the ridge of Dhampus, the peak of the Annapurnas came into view. And lo and behold, the top of Machhapuchharay was no longer the pointed spire seen from Pokhara. A second summit was peering out from behind, but only just. "You keep your eye on that other top, Bhakte. It shows itself as we move along," said Hira Bahadur. The trail now headed along the ridgeline towards the village of Landrung. From here, it was a steep descent to the raging torrent of the Modi Khola, which was crossed on a suspension bridge, and then the hard climb up to Gandrung. Every so often Bhakta looked up to the right to check how much the mountain's shape had changed. By the time the trekking party turned the last corner into Gandrung village, Machhapuchharay was openly flaunting its complete tail. To Bhakta it was a thrilling moment of confirmation. "This is the real thing," Hira Bahadur assured him. "This is the picture that you see on all those postcards." Gandrung was a famous stop for trekkers, sporting a vista of the Annapurna Himal that was famous all over Nepal and the world. Another reason the village had a good name was the cooperative spirit of its human inhabitants. The villagers of Gandrung understood that each individual had a responsibility towards the community as a whole. They helped each other in all manners, such as keeping the village clean, protecting the forests from destruction, and maintaining old traditions and customs which had died in so many other villages of Nepal. Bidding goodbye to Hira Bahadur and thanking him for carrying him all the way, Bhakta put up in one of Gandrung's many beautiful lodges. The one he chose had a beautiful grassy lawn on one side and a sign that proclaimed the Gandrung Mountain View and Chocolate Pudding Lodge with hot water shower and Wi-Fi. Bhakta Prasad shuddered at the thought of a hot water shower, which would not do a frog any good, and decided to do without one. If Grandfather Buddhi Prasad were internet savvy or held a mobile phone, Bhakta Prasad would have sent him an email or SMS message. The frog settled into an easy chair in the front lawn of the Ghandrung Mountain View and Chocolate Pudding Lodge, and took in his fill of Machhapuchray's twin-peaked summit. Towering like a sentinel, thousands of feet above the village, this hulk of rock and ice seemed almost alive, as if at any moment the tail might wiggle and swish away the fluffy little cloud that had strayed near the summit. Bhakta Prasad spent the rest of the day there, watching as the sun slid down behind him, casting the Modikhola valley below in deep shadow. The scene became even more captivating as the snowfields on the Annapurnas high up beyond Machhapuchharay changed color, from brilliant white to orange to red to gold, and finally to a dull ivory as the sun finally called it a day. As darkness fell, a full moon arose from behind the rounded summit of Annapurna South. In the moonlight, the mountains loomed silently and protectively over the adventurous little frog who was so taken by them. It was just too beautiful for Bhakta Prasad to remain silent out there on the lawn of the lodge. He could not hold back his feelings. "Yay! I'm a hero!" he cried into the moonlit night, his personal expression of delight and discovery. An insistent ding-dong, 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 ding from the trail that ran by the wall of the lodge caught the frog's attention. In the semi-darkness he could make out a mule, laden with sacks, his upper body decked out in colorful tassels and other ornaments. A large bell hung from his neck, which was doing the dinging and donging. The mule stopped by the fence and looked over. "What is all this hero talk, eh? I didn't even know that frogs could talk." Always ready for a conversation, and quite self-confident by now, Bhakta Prasad hopped over and replied, "I am Bhakta Prasad from Kathmandu. I had no idea that mules could talk, sir." At that, the mule let the matter of talking ability rest. His name was Saligram Samser, one of the hundreds of mules who plied up and down the Kaligandaki valley, carrying goods for traders and trekkers' baggage. The mule said to the frog, "I came by Ghandruk to drop off some sacks of apples, and am headed back up to Jomsom. It is behind the Annapurna Mountains, north of here. You want to come along? We can travel by night. There is enough moonlight to walk." The question was a waste of breath, for of course Bhakta Prasad was game. He had been to the Tarai and had traveled through Nepal's mid-hills, and here was an opportunity to actually penetrate the Himalaya and see its northern side. Oh please, Sir Mule, Sir Saligram, take me with you." With a swish of his tail, a nod of his head, and a ding-dong-dong-ding from his bell, Saligram indicated that the frog should hop on top of the topmost sack of rice he was carrying. He said, "Hold on to the stay ropes. The trail is precipitous, and I do not want you falling into the river. Don't look down." Bhakta Prasad looked up one last time at the fishtail mountain, lit up by the moon, and whispered a farewell. He could have been mistaken, but Bhakta Prasad thought he saw the tail flap ever so faintly, a goodbye wave from the mountain sentinel. Or could it have been the dim light playing tricks on his eyes? Bhakta Prasad clutched the rope that held the sack to Saligram's back. Having left his bed at the lodge empty, he fell asleep to the steady gait of the mule, who plodded northward towards the Trans-Himalaya.